It's 37 days since Isolation 2.0 started and 13 days since Stage 4 lockdown was announced. Nothing else matters. The Gregorian calendar is for people in far off lands like Sydney and Brisbane and Perth. They may have use for things like date and time. We here in Victoria, we're more like Tom Hanks in Castaway. We know time only by how many notches we've scratched into the wall, and spend it talking to a ball we've started thinking is a little bit attractive now. Good news now, Stage 4 isolation is working. That's right, all of our sacrifices are finally paying off. This last week, we've seen a steady drop in positive cases, which means the curve is now trending downwards. Now that doesn't mean you rip off your face mask and run to the nearest shopping center or pub and start dry humping strangers. Nor does it mean that you really have to start worrying about things like grooming and wearing something other than, trackies. Not just yet, anyway. That day is still a long way off, but it's closer now than it ever has been before. One day, in the near future, I'll trim my beard, get my back waxed, and stand in front of the mirror practicing sentences like, "And how are you today?" And "Why, yes, your breath does feel lovely on my face." And "Would you like to see my smooth and shiny back?" Okay, so maybe my social skills need a little bit of practice as well. The Premier has taken time to remind people that even though we are doing better than we were before, we're not in the clear yet. Which means we have to be just as careful with our reasons for leaving home for a while longer still. Unlike the man police found in a parking lot more than 5 kilometers away from his house, who claimed he left his apartment after his roommate had his partner over, and their appreciation for one another was more vocal than he could handle. There are no further details on whether or not his roommate is having sex with a blue whale or a sonic boom. Vaccine news now. Since the outbreak of COVID-19 began several thousand years ago, or December 29, I don't know, it all feels the same right now, scientists have been working very hard at developing a vaccine. Well, Russia has claimed a victory in that race, with President Vladimir Putin announcing a new vaccine called Sputnik 5. Now, critics have said they're worried about how quickly this vaccine was rushed through trials, with only 10% of the clinical trials proving successful. Personally, I feel they're rushing it. Their leader even vaccinated his daughter, putting her life at stake, but he probably figures it was worth a shot. But if Russia wants to be the first to produce a vaccine, so be it. Sorry, I'll stop now. Look, it's really boring, alright? This is all I have left. You know what's worrying though, is that they've named it Sputnik 5. The Russians claim it's because they're reminding us how they won the space race. Except, Sputnik 5 never carried any humans. The first human in space was Yuri Gagarin in the Vostok 1, which launched 8 months after Sputnik 5. Sputnik 5 instead carried 2 dogs, 40 mice, 2 rats, and a bunch of plants. Which might mean the vaccine is really good for dogs, mice, rats, and plants, but maybe not yet ready for humans. The clue, my friends, is in the name. How do you pronounce that news now? And Democratic presidential nominee and serial hair sniffer Joe Biden has announced his pick for vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, the daughter of an Indian-American mother and Jamaican-American father. And she's been a very controversial pick for Biden almost entirely because basically Americans around the world, people don't know how to pronounce her name correctly.
So it begins. You're not allowed to criticize Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris or whatever because Kamala Harris. Whatever.
She even addressed this issue head on by getting kids to explain it to American adults.
It's not Kamala. It's not Kamala. It's not Kamala. It's Kamala. Kamala Harris.
You know, if you can pronounce Timothy Chalamet, you can probably pronounce Kamala. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has focused instead on the most pressing issue in America right now. What's that? Coronavirus, you might think? Or maybe the economy? Or you simple trusting fool? No, it's water pressure in the showers. Last month at a White House event, he said he believed water does not come out fast enough from fixtures. And I'm quoting here, "So, what do? You just stand there longer or you take a shower longer? Because my hair, I don't know about you, but it has to be perfect," he said. The Department of Energy has now announced that it will change the rules to allow showerheads to boost water pressure. He also said people are, and I'm quoting again, people are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to just once. Which now draws into question just how much fiber the US president has in his diet. And you know what? That's pretty much as good a place as any to wrap things up for this week. Mask up, Melbourne. Stay safe. Back to you, Henry.